And welcome to This Is Now. The government shutdown is in day 3 with no end in sight. And today, lawmakers once again failed to reach an agreement. Erica Brown has the very latest from Capitol Hill.
The White House says layoffs of some federal workers are needed as the government shutdown continues.
Nobody wants to do that, but sometimes in government you have to make tough decisions.
The Trump administration is also targeting some Democratic-led cities and states during the shutdown. Earlier this week, the White House put a hold on $18 billion in funding for transit projects in New York. And Friday morning, Office of Management and Budget Director Russ Vought announced on social media that $2 billion in projects for Chicago is being frozen.
Russ Vought is doing what he's been tasked to do in the midst of this government shutdown, which is to look at funds that need to be temporarily halted or need to be canceled. And Chicago is just another example of that.
Friday, the Senate voted once again and failed to move forward with a short-term spending bill to fund the government until mid-November, extending the government shutdown.
The yeas are 54 and the nays are 44.
Republicans picked up 3 votes, but the bill still fell short of the 60 needed to advance the legislation. Most Democrats are holding out for an extension of Affordable Care Act subsidies and a rollback of cuts to Medicaid.
I'm confident that it is a righteous fight to keep health care premiums from going up for tens of millions of families.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune says discussions are underway with some Democrats to vote for the bill.
I don't know how many times you're going to give them a chance to vote no, and hopefully over the weekend they'll have a chance to think about it.
The next vote is not expected until Monday, which would be day 6 of the shutdown. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Back here at home, a strike date has been set for over 2,000 local Kaiser Permanente employees. The 5-day strike is now set to start at 6:30 a.m. on Tuesday, October 14th, and end on Sunday the 19th. Their unions delivered a 10-day notice to Kaiser this morning. Both sides have been negotiating a new contract for months as the old one expired at the end of September.
I've been getting myself ready since last year because I knew that this year was the end of our contract, and I knew that this year would be hard for us and that it would be a fight.
In a statement, Kaiser Permanente said in part that it's been negotiating with unions since May and it's offering a 20% pay increase over 4 years, along with enhancements to low-cost medical plans and retiree medical benefits. Kaiser also says it has plans in place to continue offering health care during the strike. New information on Thursday's deadly police shooting near the Queens Medical Center. Our Dylan Ancheta has more on the man who was killed.
In a news conference with interim HPD Chief Rade Vanek just hours after the shooting, we learned that the suspect in this case was a 50-year-old man with a criminal record. Now, all of this started around 10:15 outside of the Queens Medical Center. It was reported that the man was expressing suicidal thoughts and stated that he had a firearm. When officers arrived at the scene and approached him, he reached into his waistband and pulled out a firearm and pointed it at the officers, according to HPD. And that's when police opened fire. HPD said 2 officers fired multiple shots. The man was hit and immediately taken inside for treatment, but later died. The firearm used was recovered, and police said it was a revolver-type firearm. It had a serial number, but was not registered. It also was not reported stolen. As for the suspect's criminal record, police said he has 4 criminal convictions, including 1 felony conviction for the assault of a law enforcement officer.
For someone who is suicidal, there's different things that we can do. But once that person decides to use deadly force and point a gun at an officer or a member of the public, then officers are trained to take the necessary action to keep not only themselves but the public safe as well. Being an officer, it's tough. And I really commend them for doing what's needed to keep not only themselves safe but the public safe. I feel for them, but I feel for the family as well. It's a tough job.
Now, in a statement, the Queens Medical Center said they were grateful to HPD for their swift response and are thankful that no one else was harmed in this incident. As for the officers who opened fire, HPD said both of them have 5 years of experience on the force and they were offered standard administrative leave. Outside of HPD headquarters, I'm Dylan Ancheta for Hawaii News Now.
Dylan, thank you. The U.S. Supreme Court today announced it will consider overturning a Hawaii law that limits where people can carry guns. A judge previously blocked the sensitive places law after it was challenged by gun rights groups. But the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals reversed the decision. Right now, permitted gun owners are not allowed to carry them on private property, like restaurants, unless they have the express permission of the owner. The Trump administration urged the justices to take the case, saying the law violates the court's 2022 ruling that found people have a right to carry firearms in public under the Second Amendment. About 1,300 people took a stand against domestic violence yesterday in downtown Honolulu. It is the 31st year for the Men's March Against Violence. Lawmakers and community advocates gathered at Iolani Palace to raise awareness. Organizers say it's not just about showing up, but about standing up to protect families across Hawaii.
So much negative rhetoric that is in society these days that we have to change the narrative and be the voice for peace and be the voice for change as men.
Some of the best wins are actually situations where we see victims have left a relationship and they're thriving as a result of all the services they get in the community.
If you or someone you know needs help, contact the Domestic Violence Action Center at the number on your screen. A slight increase in the number of children in Hawaii using religious exemptions to avoid vaccinations. The CDC says the rate of kindergartners to high school seniors increased from 5.3 to 5.4% over the past year. That's higher than the national average of 3.4%. This includes immunizations for hepatitis B, polio, measles, mumps, and rubella. The CDC calls it concerning because MMR vaccination rates are at 90%, well below the herd immunity of 95%. In April, the Department of Health confirmed 2 cases of measles in Hawaii. A new UHERO report is sounding the alarm for Hawaii's nonprofit sector, which stands to lose more than $100 million in federal funding. Annalisa Burgos explains.
Economists and nonprofit leaders are calling it a crisis, warning the government shutdown only worsens the fallout from federal cuts. New research from UH and the Hawaii Community Foundation shows $126 million in federal grants earmarked for Hawaii nonprofits are now politically vulnerable.
Over half of it is in healthcare programs and Native Hawaiian serving programs. If you make cuts to these kinds of programs at the same time that there are cuts elsewhere, whether it's in Medicaid or SNAP or tax credits for Affordable Care Act, then the strains on the system just compound.
An estimated 49,000 Hawaii residents are at risk of losing Medicaid coverage due to additional work requirements, and another 22,000 lose risking some of their SNAP benefits.
They could significantly increase demand for the services of these nonprofits at precisely the time where the nonprofits themselves are losing some federal contracts.
Roughly a third of federally funded nonprofits count on Washington for more than 20% of their revenue. Those focused on human services, environment, and education are especially at risk, with many forced to lay off employees, delay benefits, or even shut down life-saving services.
It's really a crisis right now for domestic violence, people fleeing. They don't have anywhere to go unless they go to a shelter, but they can't bring their animal.
When a young person, ages 14 to 24, is on the streets, without that lifeline from trusted adults, our efforts to reunify runaways with their families, our efforts to connect young people to mental health, substance abuse treatments are all going to be interrupted.
The Hawaii Community Foundation says it's using the report to prioritize grant making and strategically support programs with the greatest need. It revived its COVID-era Hawaii Resilience Fund and hopes to raise $1.8 million by the end of October.
Philanthropic dollars are not going to replace all of these federal dollars, but we wanted to be as targeted as we could be in providing support.
And more help is on the way. The state set aside $50 million in emergency funding this year to keep nonprofits afloat. Lawmakers are working on the application process.
This research really helps to point out where the potential gaps are and where we can hopefully plug some of the gaps by coming together.
Find a link to the report on our website, hawaiinewsnow.com. Annalisa Burgos, Hawaii News Now.
How's it on this Aloha Friday? We've got light trade winds in control today. That means fairly dry after a few morning showers, fairly dry through the day. However, with the winds running light, we'll see a slightly more humid conditions with afternoon clouds and a few afternoon showers, but they'll be very spotty in nature. They won't be widespread. We got a little bit of a boost picking up in town today, a little boost, and we got more swells on the way, a moderate size swell, maybe near advisory levels on Saturday coming into the country. So heads up on that.
Coming up, the Hawaii Supreme Court weighs in on the high-profile federal case involving 3 former city officials, the potential legal impact of the court's opinion. And Sean Diddy Combs makes an emotional plea in court before learning his sentence, how long he'll be behind bars. Welcome back. New details in the corruption case against 3 former city officials who arranged a retirement payout for former police chief Louis Kealoha. Hawaii's acting chief justice says Donna Leong, Roy Amamia, and Max Sword did not break the law. Our Daryl Huff breaks down 2 Supreme Court opinions on the case.
Federal prosecutors ultimately pleaded all 3 officials down to misdemeanor charges, although together they paid back the city the $250,000 they arranged for Kealoha. The state Supreme Court can't overturn those cases, but in 2 opinions this week, the state justices cast real doubt about whether the case was worthy of prosecution. Donna, you did, though, accept responsibility today.
We're not going to answer any questions, thank you.
But you did.
Daryl, we're not going to answer any questions.
In the unanimous ruling, the court said former top city attorney Donna Leong should not lose her law license. The court said her conspiracy with Police Commission Chair Max Sword and City Managing Director Roy Amamia to avoid a council vote on Kealoha's payoff was not an act of dishonesty, ruling the factual basis underlying respondent's guilty plea does not support a finding that the crime in this particular case involved dishonesty or false statements, even though some had called it a cover-up.
Even though maybe in the bigger picture we think it is, but legally, the answer is no, it was not a crime of dishonesty or deceit.
If it was, her license could be terminated. But wait, there's more. 2 of the justices, including now acting Chief Justice Sabrina McKenna, went a big step further, surprising experts, saying the defendants didn't even break the law.
It's a long way to go for them to go back in and ask that their conviction be overturned, but it is something that is now open.
McKenna and Associate Justice Todd Edens, in a concurring opinion, wrote city law did not require city council approval of Kealoha's retirement agreement in the first place. They said the council is only required to approve settlement agreements of claims against the city, but they wrote Chief Louis Kealoha had not initiated, brought, or made a claim against the city. Rather, Leong and others apparently took it upon themselves to engage in a process to get Kealoha to retire for the good of the city. Federal law expert Alexander Silvert says the two justices may have overstepped.
And that was not briefed. It was not part of what was brought before the Supreme Court, and therefore, in my opinion, should not have been addressed.
Do the defendants have something they could carry back to the federal courts and in some kind of appeal?
Now that there is some sort of state interpretation of the statute, I believe the defendant should now go back into federal court, make a claim of actual innocence, and try to have their convictions overturned if that's the path they wish to pursue.
We reached out to attorneys for Leong, Sword, and Amamiya, and none would comment.
But City Council Chair Tommy Waters said he agrees with the opinion that the Kealoha retirement agreement didn't need council approval, and he said it will clarify the roles of the council and city agencies reviewing personnel decisions. Daryl Huff, Hawaii News Now.
New at noon, Sean Diddy Combs sat emotionless after finally learning his punishment today. Over the summer, a jury found the music mogul guilty of prostitution-related charges. Jared Hill has the latest from the courthouse.
Sean Diddy Combs spoke on his own behalf, calling his behavior disgusting, shameful, and sick, moments before a federal judge sentenced him to a little over 4 years in prison, saying he, quote, abused power and control with women he professed to love.
My nose fell off.
Overnight, Combs' legal team released a 12-minute video shown in court, painting him as a family man, philanthropist, and mentor.
This is our third school we have opened. It's official.
In July, a jury found the music mogul guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, linked to 2 ex-girlfriends, Cassandra Ventura and another woman who testified as Jane. Combs was acquitted on the 2 more serious charges of racketeering and sex trafficking, avoiding the possibility of life in prison. In a 4-page letter to the judge overseeing this case, Combs apologized for his actions, asked for mercy, and promised never to commit a crime again. Sentiments echoed in the court. Prosecutors requested the 55-year-old serve a sentence of 11 years, reiterating that he subjected his former girlfriend to years of physical and mental abuse and was convicted under the Federal Mann Act, adding that Combs had already booked speaking engagements in Miami beginning next week. Defense attorneys asked for no more than 14 months in prison, arguing their client is not a pimp. His children and even one of his lawyers were moved to tears, asking he be given a second chance.
Racketeering sex trafficking cases are like fire-breathing dragons, and he slayed the dragon.
David Shapiro is a former New Jersey prosecutor and professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice.
They, on their own, are dotting I's and crossing T's for an appeal.
Each of Combs' prostitution-related convictions carried a maximum sentence of 10 years behind bars. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
I'll give you a look outside right now from the Tower Cam on this Aloha Friday. Your 7-day first alert forecast is coming up.
First Alert Weather with Guy Huggy.
Happy Aloha Friday. The weather's looking pretty nice going into the weekend. Now today with the light winds, we could get some spotty afternoon showers. Now this morning, there's not a lot of rain out there. There's a handful of drips and drops heading to the windward side of Oahu. Otherwise, it is mostly dry across the state. And the winds will run slow for one more day before picking up speed tomorrow. And the winds should be a little bit breezy by tomorrow afternoon. But for today, we'll have a light trade wind breeze. And because of that, we'll have fairly dry conditions through the day, but it's going to be a little bit on the humid side, and there will be these afternoon cloud buildups. They could spawn a few showers into the early evening, but those showers will be very limited. They won't be widespread at all, and they'll clear up in the overnight hours. Now, as far as the surf, we'll have some fun-sized waves today. Up in the country, the current swell's on the way down, but there's another bigger swell coming in over the weekend for north and west shore, so heads up on that, near advisory levels over the weekend. And today, we got a small pulse that's peaking on the South Shore, and late Saturday into Sunday, we've got another moderate-sized swell heading into the South Shore. So lots of surf on the way. Now, the weather's going to be changing a little bit as we head into the weekend. Just a few spotty showers today, mainly this afternoon for a handful of interior and leeward spots. Drier conditions through the weekend into Monday. The breezy winds come back for a short time tomorrow, then they slow down from Sunday on. And then looks like Tuesday, Wednesday, we could see some more meaningful rainfall as a weak front drops on in.
Thank you, Guy. October brings a month full of fun at Sea Life Park, and it all starts tomorrow with a big fire knife competition. We sent Casey Lunn out there to check it out.
Yeah, happy Aloha Friday from Sea Life Park. A big, exciting competition. We've been talking about that all day here at Sea Life Park. Happening 4:30 tomorrow, October 4th. You want to get your tickets because this is world-class competitors really celebrating the culture and the legacy of Fire Knife and the families that are going to be here. It's going to be a really special evening. But there's so much more happening at Sea Life Park this month in October, a full month of family fun. Erica Neves is with me. She is the Director of Sales and Marketing for Sea Life Park. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, you got the sun shining on us, and we've got a little bit of drizzle, but that's okay.
Rainbow behind. Oh, there was a rainbow.
Yeah, rainbow. You need rain to have a rainbow. Erica, tell me a little bit about what you guys are excited for. You have some deals for Kama'aina folks happening this month as well.
Yeah, we do. We know everybody's back in school, and so October is just a month that we want to focus on all of our special events, including a Keiki Sunday event that's coming up on October 12th. So as you can see, the focus is going to be Halloween. So get your Halloween costumes or your Halloween ideas out early. It's going to be a buy one, get one free offer. So we're doing a Shaka special, which is less than our normal Kama'aina rate. It's about 55% off. So entry price is $19.99 for children, $24.99 for adults. Kama'aina and local military with ID. So they can come in, but the parent buys a ticket, the kids get in for free. So that's a great deal. And then when they come into the park, again, anytime this month, but specifically on October 12th, we're going to have a costume contest. We're going to have mermaids and pirates. You were talking about mermaids earlier, so all kind of fun face painting.
You know, I have this flashback, and I'm glad I'm not pulling up the picture because
we want to see
it was a little embarrassing. I came out here and I got a mermaid makeover. The storybook folks, it's so much fun. I mean, the holidays, October, such a great time, but there's always something to do out here.
There is.
It's always kind of changing. That's what I love about Sea Life Park.
It is, and one of the things that Sea Life Park is known for also obviously is the education portion of our marine life and our conservation. Every day in morning and afternoon we have turtle talks. You can learn about the Hawaiian monk seal, our dolphins. We still have our dolphin presentation in the afternoon, and there's also those interactive components where if you're celebrating a special occasion, a birthday, you can swim with the dolphin, you can feed a dolphin, you can pet a dolphin. So that's what the park is known for in addition to its conservation efforts.
Very likely could inspire the next generation of marine biologists.
We have, you know, we have a good story, maybe that's for another time, but we had a young man that was 9 years old, came here, did a dolphin encounter. He's one of our animal care team trainers now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Erica Neves, thank you so much for sharing. I mean, there is a lot to talk about. Again, one more time, right before I know we're out of time, the Shaka special and the discount, one more time.
Yep, go to sealifeparkhawaii.com and you can get all them. Sealifeparkhawaii.com, the $19.99, $24.99 Kama'aina special, and then buy one, get one free on October 12th.
And don't forget about just tomorrow, this coming Saturday, the amazing fire knife competition happening right here at Sea Life Park. 4:30, get your tickets. You can find all the details. Malu Production putting that on at HawaiiNewsNow.com. We'll send things back in the studio for now.
Mahalo, Casey. Newfound internet fame has been found for the kupuna at Molohia Nursing Home near Liliha. Comes after video of their annual Aloha Week parade went viral on social media. Maluhia tells us they've been putting on this special event with their residents for 20 years, but this year was the first time it was ever shared online. It's all in an effort to bring the festivities of the Aloha festivals to the kupuna so they can enjoy it as well.
So many of our residents don't get to go out of the hospital, and they don't get to experience these things like the Aloha Week Parade, you know, and to just bring that to them and just to let them have a little moment where all eyes are on them and just to see those smiles.
We're told most of the flowers, tea leaf, and greenery adorning the kupuna are donated by their families. Maluhia says it also grows some at their facility too. Great stuff. Well, if you're still mapping out some weekend plans, have we got the event for you, and it involves Banana Lumpia. We'll explain after the break. If you love Banana Lumpia, here's your chance to prove it. Wet and Wild will celebrate Filipino American History Month with a Banana Lumpia eating contest tomorrow. 20 Banana Lumpia in 7 minutes. Wow. See you again, first at 4.